Zwane is not helping himself. Not at all. Siyazama thina abanye simthandayo siyazama ukumdefender and we're saying, no, give him time. He's still trying to find combinations, stuff like that. But you don't then go out there and do something that's going to attract more attention to you. There's already enough bad publicity about him. The team's performance, it's already a problem, and it should, because you're a big team and you can't be languishing on 14th position with the caliber of players that you have. Siaz, we are building, but again, the position that we're in is not looking so flattering for the size of the team. Now, after the 1-1 draw against Imarumo Gallants, Shepard goes to Zwane, he tries to shake his hand, and then Zwane purposefully does not shake Izanlega Shepard. What the honest hell? What is going on? Why are you doing that? Like, really, why would you do that? Because all the cameras are looking at you. He knew this, but if someone does something wrong and he knows that it's wrong and he doesn't care, then basically that's telling me at that moment it's not logic that's working. At that time, he wasn't using his mind to think, but he was using how he felt, and he wasn't controlling himself at that moment. Which then brings me back to this point, Uguti. Has Zwane lost his head? Not Uguti Ahlanya. Has Zwane actually lost his cool? Maybe to rephrase it and make it better. Ningangitshela kuma comment section about this. And in fact, I'm going to read one of your comments from yesterday. It's something that I will start doing now. I'll go to when you guys comment, and then I'll read some of the comments that you guys leave. So here's the first comment. It says, it looks like it's going to be difficult for Coach Zwane going forward. Let me make sure that I'm showing the screen. Here we go. Yes. So it says that it looks like it's going to be difficult for Coach Zwane going forward, from Umncedi Tunzi. He looked like someone who lost his confidence because his team is not the same as those first games. The first 3 games was better, but after we lose to Sundowns, things change. They play with fear, no confidence at all. I'm afraid to lose the 4th match. The supporters will not tolerate, especially we're in the 4th position, unless our coach can change the way we play now. And uqinisile bafethu Umncedi, because if you think about the situation that we're in right now and how this thing came about, because indaba yokudlala ibhola with arrogance and confidence and all of that stuff, it was there. I can argue ukuthi igame esayiluza, igame esayiwina eMaritzburg was good, igame esayiwina against iRoyal AM was good, but le game esidlala against Stellenbosch, we won, but we did not play as well as we played against the Sundowns. I will say that again. We lost against Sundowns, but we played much better there. And to me, it feels like after that loss, then uzwana wasaba. Kwaphela ukuthi we are not afraid. Kwaphela ukuthi we fear no one. All of that, it seems like it just all went away after that loss. And because the coach's mind has been interrupted or has been messed with, it affects the rest of the team. Because if the coach is scared, if a coach is always now trying to be extra cautious, I made an example about how Umat was passing the ball and then he looked at Zwane and then he saw good, there's no one, so he passed the ball to Solomons and then he went back and tried to close the gap, although we're in position. But you could see he's now playing with extra caution. Ustebe in the first game, he was collecting the ball from the back, passing the ball. He was playing like that. But then after the loss against Sundowns, ubeselokhu ehlaba ama long balls. Because manje ngathi sekune caution, there's too much caution that has been added to a game yet, and because of that, now ibhola lethu liyabhora. I mean, I said here, well, not here, I was back home, South Africa back then. I said, you know what, we lost this game 1-0. Talking about a game he played team against Royal AM. I was saying, oh wow, we played well, we did lose, but at least we saw something. I prefer losing sidlale ibhola eliright. I would rather not lose at all. But if kukuthi team ngibona ukuthi bizama ukwenzani, it's better. But then if uzowin against Stellenbosch, I'm like, okay, a win is a win. But if ungena plan kanje and then you meet Sundowns again or a Pirates or someone who knows what they're, well, not someone who knows what they're doing, someone who's going to just make sure ukuthi you don't get a sniff of the ball, then yonke into yakho, onke plans akho will not even work. So I would rather have a team ezoluza kodwa idlalile kune team ezodrawa ungaboni ukuthi idrawe kanjani or iwin ungaboni ukuthi iwine kanjani, because then makuthiwa iChiefs iwine kanjani impilo ngizothi offside, score goal offside, and yeah, inhlahla, I guess. You know, it's just confusing. Another thing that's confusing, guys, ukuthi 80% of you who watch this channel are not subscribed. So please do subscribe right now before I continue with the video. I'll wait. Subscribe. Thank you. Thank you so much. Also, while you edit, just like the video as well. Thank you. Okay, so asikubekeni-ke bafethu ukuthi another thing about Zwane losing his cool, yeah, that's a better word to use. Another thing about Zwane losing his cool ukuthi he then does not control himself during our interviews. I talked here yesterday about how Zwane talked about ukuthi the target was 21 points, but we have not reached it, whatever. And then I gave him my pros and cons of saying things like that in public, especially now that the target was 21 points, but then if we had won all the matches, best of 19, but manje the highest we can achieve is not 19, minus 2 points, 17 points, I guess, that we can reach. But the worst thing is when after losing a game, you go out and then you throw players under the bus. That is just not cool. That's just not cool. After losing the match, you do not isolate individuals. You don't. You just don't. You don't isolate individuals. Zwane went out there yesterday and said, I don't think Ashley understood what we wanted him to do. Like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you take a new signing, a 25-year-old who is still trying to get his confidence, and clearly his confidence is not so high because he scored against Maritzburg, he scored against Stellenbosch, yes, but he wants to do better. And yesterday he had a horrible game, and the last thing you need, Uguti, after being taken off by your coach, and then he comes out and says to the media, you were basically clueless. It's like, aibo coach, wenza njani manje? You are being interviewed, and everything that you're saying and everything that you say will be scrutinized by people. People will talk about the things that you say. And we are talking about ukuthi Zwane said this. Ganti yabo fethu, now the problem engabe stila ngayo ukuthi how do we react kwi-game yeSuperSport. But no, now we are sitting here, we're talking about Zwane losing his cool. We are talking about Zwane publicly blaming abadlali. Because even with uBlom kuleya game yokuqala wakhuluma vele ukuthi uBlom didn't have the best game, but it's different okaBlom kwakungcono. Lokhu ka-Ashley, you could phrase it some other way ukuthi no, we needed someone who's used to playing around those areas. Mhlampe find a way yokuthi they haven't gotten a chance to play together, uDupree no Caleb, something different. Because okokuqala uDupree izolo bedlaliswa for the first time as a number 9 kwi-Chiefs, and then usuzomshintshela i-tactic phakathi ne-game futhi, so usuzomdlalisa ama-position a-foreign to him twice in one game. What do you expect from that player? And now that you have said that to him, how do you think he's feeling? And on top of that, because we've seen ukuthi Zwane is so brutal sometimes, kukhona ukuthi you have to be brutally honest with whoever so that you know you, but sometimes it does more damage. You can be honest, but there is no need to add adjectives into it. You don't have to be brutally honest. adverbs. You don't have to you don't have to like add izinto ezithile phekwalokho ukuthi no, I'm being brutally honest. You can just tell the player, listen, you didn't do well here and there. Like Klopp, Liverpool was absolutely smashed by Napoli in the previous match that we played. Liverpool that they played, they were absolutely bullied 4-1. He did not come out and say Trent had a crappy game. Trent had a crappy game. James Milner had a crappy game. A lot of players, Van Dijk had a crappy game. Klopp did not come out and say that. City abadlali, they have crappy games. You will not hear Guardiola coming out and saying so and so had a bad game. He will just say players did not play well or will do better, whatever. You protect your players, because if abadlali bengaprotectwa as a coach, then uthi thina senze njani? Okay, thina singaba-protect abanye bethu because we know they're human beings as well. But there are some people who don't care. There are some people who don't like those players in any case. So if you as a coach are coming out and blaming those players in public, uzoba nenkinga. Mthethisa umdlali one-on-one, mthethisa umdlali training, ungamthethisa nasegroundini. Siya understand that you are giving instructions, but mawusubuzwa imedia, because phela nabo labantu, they are trying to write stories and get headlines, and once babhale headline front page, and then siyatrenda lento ku-Twitter ukuthi hayibo uZwane thinks Wesley Dupree akezwa. Manje abantu sebethi hayi uzozwa kanjani vele bemtshela into engekho, uzozwa kanjani umdlali nawo umtshela into ongayazi. Ngithi yabona ke manje sekuuzwana osenkingeni, and more bad highlights about him, and we don't need that. We can do without that. And worst of all ke manje ke mase kune division between him and his assistant coach. Abantu are having different theories ukuthi mhlawumbe uShepard said let's try this, if it doesn't, trust me, it will work, whatever. But even if uShepard wenzene wrong, you don't do that phambi kwabantu. Hamba umcorrect esayidini. Mawusewenza lezi zinto lezi phambi kwabantu, you are just airing your dirty laundry in front of people. You cannot do that. Control your emotions, whether uphambi kwabantu awukho phambi kwabantu really, but even more so phambi kwabantu. Pretenda, mbambe, bamane ba-analyze ukuthi umxhawulo ungafuni. Noma nje unikeza abantu i-reason ukuthi hayi uZwane akamxhawulanga uShepard. It's a big story now. And kusasa we'll talk about other things, because from this game it's a lot of things came out of it. But guys, let me know what you think down on the comment section. Has Zwane lost his cool? And also on a related subject, Ugot, do you think in losing his cool he's also lost some players in that dressing room? It's an interesting question. Bese ngithi ngiyarep up. But is it possible? Because we were talking about how abadlali bayayidonsa nje. Is it possible ukuthi abadlali, because abadlali bayakwazi ukuxoshisa phela futhi, that's another thing that happens. If abadlali bengasafuni ukudlalela, bayayeka nje ukudlala, bavele bayibona ukuthi hayi yabona ke la imorali phansi, lona akafuni ukudlala, ufuna ukuxoshisa ucoach. And ke ucoach agcina exoshiwe, kufika ucoach omusha, all of a sudden the player can play amazing football. Then you're like, how? When Anje, I thought you were not playing proper football. What's going on now? Only to find out no, players were just tired of the other coach. So it's also interesting. Do you think Zwane has also lost some of the players in their dressing room? Because bese ngithi ngiyarep up, but ngakhumbula this thing ukuthi another thing that I've noticed from last season, ukuthi uMatoho made a mistake. Yaqala kuBucks Footland ukuthi umdlali enze mistake, then kwigame elandelayo they are not given a chance to redeem themselves. So basically it's like you are worth something to the team until you make a mistake. And yaqala leyo trend even that this season iqhubekile with uBlom, with keeper after keeper. But then since keeper vele abantu bebengafuni badlale because abantu bebefuna kudlala uKhune bathulile, and uKhune naye kunama mistakes akhe singawapointa njengamanje because angifuna ukugoa deep into that. Njengokuthi igola izolo, yes, udlisile uMatlongo ungaclose it down umuntu, udlisile who's this guy, udlisile uMachek uzitha kwinika, udlisile naye. But someone could also argue ukuthi uKhune gave up too early in trying to close the player down. But someone could also argue ukuthi Makodubela finished the ball quicker than Khune could even try to close him down. So, and we can also talk about how against the Cape Town City Khune kwakumele ahlale epaleni, but it didn't, and then we ended up conceding a goal, something like that. Not Cape Town City or Stellenbosch, ngiyaphambanisa. But there are things that we can point in Khune, but it's not easy to do that because vele abantu bayamthanda uKhune, so yayekwa leyo ndaba. But ke sila sisekutheni there are things that seemed as if uzwane if ubozo uyakhipha, not if ubozo, if wenza mistake uyakhipha, not ukuthi iform yakho uyadeeper altogether usekhiphile, because ukhama iform yakhe ibidiphile yet he still stayed with starting lineup, which then raises questions ukuthi kanti abanjani abakhishwayo, abanjani abahlalayo, because ukhama ubengakhishwa kudlaliswa someone else as a false nine, but that didn't happen. And then because of that, then you ask yourself ukuthi uMahlatsi akahlali athawu khama kodwa uyadlala kodwa yena ikho lento. You ask yourself ukuthi akukho lokho kuhlebeza ku background ukuthi hayi ucoach wenza njani manje, because it's the same thing that we said about uBucks ukuthi because of how he was performing, it was possible ukuthi Zwane were looking at each other when Shepard going like, whereas nje lento yenzayo nomjit, which could be the same thing that's happening now with the players ukuthi, because they see things that are written on social media. Khune is definitely on social media, and he's not the only one. Kune marathon bagijima abantu emva kwami. There is definitely questions ukuthi are they seeing or isn't as social media, and if they are, since they are, what does that do to their minds? Kuba affecta kangakanani ukuthi babona lezi zinto ezibhaliwe, akubajikisi bajikela ucoach, because if they do, then they might not consciously say siyoboza namhlanje, but subconsciously khona ukuthi ay cha lona ke. So it's a question that you guys can answer as well. Do you think Zwane has lost some players in that dressing room? And if he has, sisenkingeni ngempela, guys. So alani ngitshele kuma comment section what you guys think. I will see you on the next one, and until next time, remember, ikhosi aliphela umoya.